I never thought I'd ever make it to 3,000 subscribers. Never. Hi, I started in photography in the late 60s with some post-war cameras using 120 roll film black and white, and I developed them myself because it was cheaper and I was just a kid. I loved the hobby, and I used to get under a blanket in my bedroom, put the film into a tank. I used to put it onto a spiral tank and then shake it around and develop the actual film. I got really fascinated by photography, and it wasn't long before I moved on to something I thought was really posh, a Mamiya C330. It was a twin lens reflex. It was the first time, instead of looking through a hole in the camera, you actually had two lenses on the camera. You looked down into a mirror, and the mirror took the picture through the top lens, so you got the picture there, and the bottom lens actually took the picture, so they were so close that you virtually got what you saw on the film. It was then I discovered aperture, shutter speeds and all that kind of thing, because the Mamiya could be really manipulated. I moved on from that to another Mamiya, and that was a 645, which was the same thing, a roll film, 120 roll. Instead of square pictures, it took rectangular pictures, but this was different. It was an SLR. You could look through the lens, or whatever, look into it, and what you saw was going through the lens that actually took the picture. So accurate focusing, and I became really interested in depth of field and playing around with effects and all sorts of things, especially through developing black and white. I then moved on to colour developing, and then I moved on and left 120 behind and went on to 35mm, my first camera, an Olympus OM1. And the OM1 was a nice little compact thing. I bought lenses for it, 90mm for portraits, 50mm came as standard, and then I had a telephoto, a big one, but I don't know what it was. And it was then I became interested in slides, and also in making what were called Sebrachromes, and I would develop my own Sebrachromes as well. So I moved along after that, because what happened was I got involved in music. I went to the Royal College of Music, studied oboe, composition, piano, and photography was left at home because I moved to London. So I didn't do any photography really much anyway through those years, and actually through my working life. Eventually I retired. That was now, I'm trying to think when that was, about 8 years ago now. And it was then that I became more interested in getting good film, because before retiring, when we went on holiday, I discovered digital, and my wife bought me the first digital camera I had. It was a tape digital camera. It was I'm trying to think of the name of it. It was a Sharp. It was called a Sharp. Had little miniature DV tapes, 25 frames a second. I put a microphone into it. I had a little lavalier, a Sony lavalier, and I used that for holidays. It was quite large, so eventually I went to a little digital thing, a little chip thing. It was tiny, called a Flip, but the quality wasn't that great. But it worked, and I took that around on holiday. And it was then that I discovered that I could actually edit films, because I couldn't edit the DV tapes very easily. Didn't have the computer to do that. And also the files were quite small on this other thing, so I could actually edit them. And it's then I got into the editing and how to escape the fact that maybe your videos are not as sharp as they could be, but by editing you can take the attention away from the sharpness. Then after that, after retiring, I discovered YouTube, started watching. I bought a Sony CX405, its own internal microphone, because of the price of it, and I enjoyed videoing with that a great deal, and I did a lot of videos on that camera. I watched YouTube still, looking at people on there, and I thought maybe I should have a go at this. I carried on, and I went on to a CX625, and when I got the 625 I could put a microphone in, and that urged me to start making films on YouTube myself. It was then that I started watching people big time to see how they presented themselves, what kind of pictures they were producing, what the quality was like, how they put things, how they said things, because I found it very, very hard to speak on a video, especially in public. It was like, so difficult for me. It was then that I met some really, really fantastic guys who helped me to develop what I wanted to do. The first one was probably Kevin, the basic filmmaker. I saw his videos. He explained things so well. He was lively. He was all over the place. He was bright and light-hearted, and I really latched onto him at the start. I wrote to him, and he actually replied, as he always does, actually. And I soon got a lot of information from Kevin via his films, via his courses. And he was helping me by emailing me. He was commenting on my videos. He subscribed to me, which I was really grateful for. And Kevin really helped me, especially in the times when I felt that I wasn't being watched, when I felt my viewers were low, and he was really encouraging and helping me to develop what I wanted to do. I still found it very difficult to talk on video, to be honest. I then discovered other people who were really good presenters, and they made nice videos. One guy was Andre. He was the Worth It or Not guy, and I loved his videos, and I watched them, and loads of them. And then I met another guy on the internet called Alan Soundspeeds. And those three guys really influenced me a lot, along with another English guy who did microphones at that time called David Harry. I watched these people because basically they were good presenters, they made nice films, and especially in the case of Dave Harry, he was a specialist in microphones, which was my particular interest at that time. So I latched on, I started emulating, but it wasn't long before I found that emulating people isn't the best thing to do, because when you do that, you're not actually yourself, and it kind of hampers you. So you have to find your own way of presenting things, or else you get sort of stilted in the way you present. Very difficult, and I had stutters and things, all sorts of things going on. Again, Kevin was in there with advice and helping. So I've carried on making films, and eventually I went from the CX625 in a desperate attempt to try and get quality to a Canon M50. Andre actually helped me with that one as well, because he was very keen on the M50. I also got myself a Sony ZV-1. So I bought lenses for it, so I've got lots of lenses for the Canon M50, and just recently I've gone to the Canon M6, which I love. I'm using the M6 now at the moment. A great camera, a very nice picture. So my journey through video really started via YouTube, and these people influencing me and making me think that I could do that, I could have a go, I could talk about something. What shall I talk about? Microphones. So I started talking about microphones and sound. Originally it was audio for beginners. I made it sort of like a beginner's thing, because I just didn't have the confidence, and I'd worked with microphones all my life, but I didn't have the confidence to speak. So people like Andre, Kevin, Alan, Dave, and many others have really influenced me massively and made me carry on making these films, which is quite incredible. And here I am now, nearly at 3,000. 3,000 subscribers was something I never envisaged at the start, and Kevin helped me monetize. He told me how to do it, etc. And it's kind of grown from absolutely nothing. I was sort of basically I had like 10 subscribers, and the funniest thing is, I think the first or second subscriber was actually Alan Soundspeeds, and I had no idea who this guy was. Great guy, really great guy, helped me a lot. So they've helped me enormously to get to this stage, and I'm really grateful to you if you subscribe to my channel, because 3,000 I'd never envisaged it at all. Never saw that many, thinking, you know, this was a channel worthwhile subscribing to. So I'm really grateful to you people who have subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, please consider, because I only need a few more now. I only need a couple of hundred or something, I think it is, before I'm going to hit that 3,000, which would be fantastic. I think I might ring the bell and go to the pub. Fantastic. And then I suppose my next target is going to be something like 10,000. I don't know, who knows, you never know. But I am really genuinely surprised that 3,000 people have subscribed to a microphone channel, and I'm really grateful. So thank you so much, and I hope to see you next time. Cheers for now.